We are not pressed for time. We're just a little bit ahead of time. So just so you know, you have plenty of time for your presentations, folks. Hristo, are you here?
Can you guys hear me?
I hear you just fine.
Hello.
It's your turn. Take it
Okay.
away.
I thought my presentation was meant to start at 7 o'clock, my time. So can you tell me how much time I have? I think you muted, Roger.
You have till 21:20 Universal Time.
So this is 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're ahead of schedule. Okay. Is that all right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let me just see. Can you see my screen? Yes. Wrong one.
Hristo, if I read the program correctly, you were due to start at 7:20 in 10 minutes time.
Okay, then.
So you got 10 minutes extra if you want to waffle.
Let me just try to find the right screen to share. Can you guys see my screen? It should be Occultwatcher Cloud's Chrome web browser.
I see OW Cloud, search by object, search by star, search by tag, country, development
Excellent.
phases.
Okay. So the way I wanted to run this is probably a bit different. So I thought a lot whether I should prepare a PowerPoint presentation and try to just explain stuff from one end. But I've been trying to do this for a long time now. And it seems that I'm having some difficulty to explain exactly what the Occultwatcher Cloud is, and I'm kind of looking for feedback from people, and I've been trying to do this for a long time. So I would still talk a lot about what it is, but I would really appreciate if people just stop me and ask questions for clarification, because maybe some of the stuff I talk about, I may understand what they mean, but maybe my explanation doesn't make sense, or maybe what you guys may be asking would be very good questions for me to think about going forward. So, what is?
Hristo, can I interrupt and ask one quick question right now?
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is Steve. Sorry. I have a tendency to think of Occultwatcher a particular way, and I'm curious to know if this matches your vision. I tend to think of, I'm sorry, of Occultwatcher Cloud. I tend to think of OW Cloud, Occultwatcher Cloud as a, if you will, a separate backend server to Occultwatcher. So like I think of it like a separate machine, a separate server that sits out there and searches and identifies for events, and then provides a service, a back-end source of events that can be accessed by Occultwatcher, but or potentially other front ends, I suppose. But I tend to think of it as a separate, like a separate server, whether it's
yeah, so this is correct. Maybe I should start with something else. I'm not sure how many people are going to be interested in this, but I've never really talked about how the Occultwatcher desktop client works, because what most people see is simply your Windows application, which you launch, and then some events appear magically from somewhere, and then you can go and submit your stations, and then everything works. But exactly what happens on the back end or in the background, I think that most people don't really understand. So I have this server, let's call it, for lack of a better term, which is performing all the stuff on the back end. So even before Occultwatcher Cloud, I still had this backend system, which I'm still referring to as the Occultation Planner service. And the reason I'm calling it this is because this is where everyone submits their stations. So this is the system that knows how many people have signed up for an event. I don't think I have a Occultwatcher installed on this machine, unfortunately, so I can't show you that. But it shows you everything. So all the signups. It also has a automated system which runs 24/7, and it updates the weather forecasts for all of the individual events. But all of this has always been kind of related really to the individual events people have subscribed to. So this is what Occultwatcher was before the introduction of Occultwatcher Cloud. The idea of Occultwatcher Cloud was that as we now using Gaia for generating events, and as we have a lot more accurate predictions for many of the events, one of the challenges which comes with this is the sheer number of events that people could potentially try now. Before, for example, some of the faint events, or maybe for many of the events, the error bars were large enough so people just won't bother trying. But now, as we have more events, there's the great challenge of how do we find those events? How do we tell which ones of them are more important? So before I started this, the actual problem I was trying to solve is how do we find out from all of the millions of events which are out there, ones which are really worth observing? And that's so always Occultwatcher kind of had to help in this direction. And as you all well aware, so Occultwatcher uses what I call feeds, which are pretty much handpicked events by different people. So some of them come from Steve Preston from IOTA Occultations, but there's also other ones run by other people. And then in the past, it was more like local areas, for example, in Australia, in Europe, in US, other people were running other feeds or calculating more events, which were again reviewed by a person individually to pick, okay, I want to go all the events down to magnitude 14.5 in this area, and let's just pick the ones which are more interesting. So they were doing the job of someone finding events which are interesting for everyone, and then inserting those events in Occultwatcher so everyone can go and find them and sign up and observe them. But with the increased number of events, this would have become more difficult. So one of the main problems I was trying to solve is to help with this. And Occultwatcher Cloud is more or less a project which is ongoing, and it's there's many things which I don't have a very clear understanding of exactly how they're going to work. So this is why I come back again to the need of some feedback from people of what they may want to do. So what I intend, are there any questions at this point? I take this as a no. So what I want to do next is I want to just explain what is it doing right now, and what kind of capabilities or what kind of things people can do, and then maybe you can have some ideas of what else you might want to do. So the Occultwatcher Cloud, the very first thing is that I wanted to generate all of the predictions available somewhere. So in order to find something, especially quickly, so if you run, let's say, a prediction of occult for 2 months for all of the events with all number asteroids and all of the stars from Gaia down to magnitude 16.5, let's say, this will take a very long time. So in order to be able to find events or search events of a particular interest, I figured it would be better or easier if some of those, or if all of those events are actually pre-calculated and put in a database, which will allow a search which is much faster. So what the server does right now is it runs constantly a code to calculate events, any events really, or all events with all numbered asteroids and all stars from Gaia. And if you log into the page, so currently there's no home page, so you don't log in, you just go to cloud.occultwatcher.net, and you see, can you see my mouse pointer?
Yes.
Okay, so when you log in, well, when you when you go to the page, you're presented with this, which is visible to everyone. And then there's no homepage right now because I'm not really sure exactly what to put there yet. So it may be a bit strange when you go and you just see a blank screen. But if you click on events, you see this search functionality, which is a very basic search. So this is not my intention of how Occultwatcher Cloud is going to go forward of the final search capabilities. But because it calculates events, I needed some ways of looking for those events, some easy ways. And this is what I built. But when you go, it shows you this little description here telling you that you're actually currently searching among 27 million events and from the 2nd of June to July to the 15th of September. So what you can see immediately is that Occultwatcher Cloud keeps events about 2 weeks in the past, and it computes events about 1 month ahead. And all of those events I call transit events. And the reason for this is that they're constantly calculated, and as the time elapses, some of the old events are just removed from the database because they were not made interesting in any other means. But all these events are constantly available for this period of 2 months ahead and half a month behind for everyone to go and search something. So if I try to go and search, I can search by asteroid. So there's many different ways you can search. There's a little help here, but you can type a numbered asteroid. I know I said that I only calculate numbered asteroids, but actually some people may upload additional events to Occultwatcher Cloud. So I also had to support unnumbered asteroids. You can search for comets. Again, some people upload comets, or you can search for other objects as well. I'm going to search for an asteroid, which is 2207, just because I know that I was investigating an issue with this asteroid. It has a bunch of events on the 30th of July. But the idea is you pick an asteroid because you know there's events somewhere. You pick a date, you pick a buffer date, and you press search. And this is going to take 3 seconds. So in a period of 3 seconds, this system was able to search for this event for this date among 27 million events. So this is the type of thing I'm kind of trying to show. The idea is that if all these events are already calculated and available in the database, then search of different type may take a lot shorter, really a lot shorter than trying to predefine your searches before you've calculated your predictions. So the one way you can look at the transit events is simply readily calculated events using Occult, which can be queried by anyone online. The other thing you can see is that some of those events have those little blue tags, which I call tags. And then this means that even though these events are transient, some of them are actually tagged or marked as being more special in some ways. And this is the idea of identifying interesting events. So you can see that the some of them are in the lucky star, for example, feed or tag. Other ones, there's North America, LOMAC, Iber occultation in Europe. The other thing you can see is that one event can be tagged by multiple tags. So it can be tagged by multiple tags for different reasons. And my idea behind this is that some people may be interested in observing event just because they're part of a professional campaign, like let's say like the Lucky Star campaign. Or maybe some other people have some interesting events which they want us to observe for various reasons. And this is mostly the amateur pro collaboration, which has been happening all the time. Well, some of the other events are just normal events from the current feeds, which have been already migrated to Occultwatcher Cloud. So you can also search by star. This will take a lot longer because the database currently is not indexed by star, simply because I thought the searching by star is not going to be very interesting. Or you can search by tag and country, but this is really, again, all those search criteria are not something I would expect people to be using Occultwatcher Cloud every day with. This is more like an occasional, you just go and try to find an event just because it's interesting. What happens next is that when you click on one of those events, yes.
Hristo, can I ask a question? On your screen there, maximum duration.
Yes.
Given it's the same asteroid on the same 2 days, why is the maximum duration varying?
I don't know. This is coming back from a code. So let me go and find out. Let's investigate this. So this was one of them, and this is the other one, right? So this is 2.6. This one is 0.7. Yeah, you're talking about those.
No, maximum duration.
So which okay, but they are very close. Those two numbers are kind of bigger, and they're 1 day apart. So which one do you want me?
Well, those. Well, if you do the 6.79 and the 8.19,
those two,
they're 7 hours apart. There shouldn't be that level of difference over a period of a day or two.
No. Okay, let's find out. So the other thing is, obviously there will be problems with with the software or bugs, let's say. But the other thing which I found with the Occultwatcher Cloud is that we were able to identify other kind of issues as well. So some of them were in a code, Dave, if you remember. So I think that the other good thing about this is that having so many events and running automated calculations on so many events can spot some issues or just interesting things. So let's go and find out. The other thing I'm going to say, and then this is probably the explanation for you of why there's so big difference, is that there's a difference between a tagged event and untagged event, as you can see here. So I can explain straight away. I think I know the answer. So the answer with the asteroid diameter and where is the diameter source from, because the maximum duration really depends on the size of the asteroid. And this size can come from different places. It doesn't always come from the account internal database, because I'm also making queries to the GPL and other sources, and then eventually in different predictions, it's possible that the diameter is actually used. So that's the explanation of this. But this was a very good question for me to explain something else, which I think is not clear yet. So the transit events, or the ones which are calculated for all of the 27 million events before they are tagged, they are calculated with currently the horizons orbits, but these orbits are not so the prediction is, let's say, not high accuracy. So you just an orbit without a specific integration on the date, without the oscillating elements at the time of the prediction. So this prediction is kind of lower accuracy, and it's this just because it would take a lot of time to query to go and query the horizons database for the time of the event for every one of those 27 million events to get a higher accuracy prediction. So what happens is that when someone, let's find this one again. So this is the one which is the untagged one. So when you click on it, it shows something like this. And then one thing you can see immediately is the error. So the error in path widths is pretty high. So this is 15 path widths. So this is the standard orbit and the standard error with the assumed error bars. And all of the transit events are like this. They use the standard assumed error bars. But when someone comes and tags an event, which means the event is made part of a feed, which is, let's say, this one, but this was uploaded by Dave Goat. So I need to find one which is which has been tagged. I'm just going to click in some other places. So I think that probably those ones. Okay, let's click on this one. Okay, now this is also okay. Let me show you something else then. So I know that's a lot of information. I'm clicking around. Probably it's not helping to make more sense. let's go back to the one which is the transit event, this one, and I'm just gonna pretend that I'm gonna tag this event with an imaginary tag, and this is something that everyone can do. So the idea of the tags is that if someone decides that this particular event is important for a particular reason, they can tag it. And the only thing you need to do is press this button. Then you need to log in to the system with your Occultwatcher username and password. And then once you've done this, you need to press the tag again. And then currently there are 2 tags which can be used by anyone. But I can very easily add more tags if people think that there would be other reasons they may want to tag events with. And then once those events are tagged with the particular tag, they will become available in Occultwatcher. But for this experiment, just to show you how this works, I'm just going to pretend that we need a new shape model for this asteroid. This is not the reason. This is not real. You shouldn't be really tagging stuff if the reason is not real. But I'll just pretend that I'm going to do this now. So once I've done this, this event was tagged, and I'll leave it there, and I'll show you later what's going to happen. So what happens currently in the background is that the system registered that someone made this event more important, and it was tagged by me as a new shape model. So it constantly goes and checks all of the new tagged events, and it will go and run a horizons prediction on this event with a particular orbit, and the error bars will drop, and then the duration will also be different because I'll be using the diameter from the horizons search. So this kind of explains why there was a difference in those ones. But I'm going to show you now a different event which was already tagged, and then you can see there's 3 different predictions for this event. This event is tagged by 2 different tags. One is Lucky Star, the other one is the European eyebrow occultations. You can see there's 3 different predictions, and the idea here is that I'm actually going to add even more different predictions, because some predictions, for example, this one is the Gaia, sorry, not the Gaia. This one is the GPO prediction with orbit 44. And then this one is the one which is deployed by Dave Gold, but this is actually a Lucky Star prediction, and they're using their own orbits. There was an issue which was discovered by Dave Gold, and this shows this issue. You can see that the path difference is too large. It's 110 kilometers between this prediction and that prediction. And the reason for this was there was an apparent issue with the orbit generation code for some of the Lucky Star events of the old events. So this one hasn't been updated. So still there's a difference there. You should always, yeah. So the other thing which Occultwatcher Cloud does is that it allows you to see all of these different predictions made with different orbits, which is just additional information. We know, or we believe that the GPO orbits with Gaia are the most accurate ones, but these are not the only ones that can be shown as information. It's kind of similar, or the way I say it is similar to when we didn't have Gaia, we could use the star position from different catalogs, and then we can calculate predictions with the different star positions, and then we can see where the orbit will shift. So I'm really interested to see how this is gonna compare, for example, with the Lucky Star. But this one, we know that the Lucky Star is wrong because they confirmed it's wrong. But it's interesting to see how their correct orbit compares to the GPL orbit, because they also claim that their orbits must be more accurate based on their own research. So all this information, I hope it's just going to be more useful for people to observe. So this link, as you can see, this is a link which is Occultwatcher Cloud, then event, and then this is an event ID, which means that if you know your event ID, you can always go and you can search one of those events ID on Occultwatcher Cloud. So back to Steve Preston's one of the original statements of what he thinks Occultwatcher Cloud is that it's also a web system which allows people to share links and to go and just see what some of those events are. There's a bunch of additional information. Maybe some of this is not very useful to people, but you can click and there's an Aladdin star atlas thing, so you can go and you can look at the star, for example. It's this one here. You can go and change the settings. You can plot this chart if you want to. You can drill into a particular prediction, so I can click on this one. There's currently I would say a basic Google Map path support. So I'm looking at making this a lot better with more options. But currently, you can just click in different parts of the path, and then you automatically get what's the star altitude, what's the event mid time over there, etc. So this may be able to help you plan your mobile sites if you want to. There's a bunch of data from the occultation elements file itself. This is the occultation element file, and this is the error ellipsis from the improved method, and thanks to Steve Preston for helping me to build this. But this is basically his way of calculating the errors from IOTA occultations. So once the event is tagged and the prediction is updated with the latest GPO orbit, I also calculate those error ellipses. So you can see what it is: the asteroid and the asteroid and the star only, and the combined error ellipse. And the motion of this asteroid is well on the right extension, or just slightly only 91 degrees instead of 91 degrees tilted. You can see that the biggest part of the error is along the axis, so on the time error, while a much smaller error is the positional error or the path shift error. So let's see now and see whether this event was updated. So this is the event which I tagged. I'm just going to press refresh and see what happens. Okay, so you can see now. Okay, I know I'm just hiding the other one. So I should have kept the other one though. It's still there. Okay, so you can see that this is the original prediction, which Dave pointed out. This was the transit event. So it has a max duration of 6.79 with that computation, and this one has a maximum duration. Well, it's still kind of the same, Dave. So I'm not really sure why this and that are different, because this one is lucky star. So the lucky star must be using a different asteroid diameter in this case. The other thing with the Occultwatcher in general is that even though there's multiple predictions for the same event, a Occultwatcher will always pick one of them. And I know sometimes it may not be the one everyone agrees that it should be picked, but it needs to pick, or it picks one which it makes the default prediction. And all of this information comes from the default prediction. So my explanation is that because in this case, the default prediction is the lucky star one, the lucky star prediction is using a different asteroid diameter, and this explains the difference in the path shift. So the other thing I wanted to show you is that there's this campaigns link, which is relatively new, and then the Arecibo moon. So this is something which, as you know, Peter Nosworthy and Dave Goltz discovered a new satellite of the Arecibo moon, and they decided to start a campaign so more people observe it, and then we can calculate an orbit. So it was very simple. This is an example of what a tag may be used for. And I said, okay, let's just create a new tag, and then it will have this information about it. They've set up a website as well. If you go to their website, you can see some information that they've provided. But basically, let's use this tag to tag events as important for this particular reason, which is they want people to observe this asteroid to find the moon to help with the calculation of the orbit. And then this shows up in Occultwatcher as a special campaign feed, which can be seen by everyone. The other link, which is here, is that Occultwatcher Cloud has some integration with the Occultwatcher station. So you can see, for example, then on the 30th of June, I think this is the original. No, this is the observation in the US. This was the confirmed satellite observation by Richard, two stations. So all this information is also present, and you can go and see what happened. I said that the transit events in Occultwatcher Cloud are kept for only 15 days behind, but this only applies to events which have not been tagged in any way. So all events which have been tagged will remain here, hopefully for forever or for a very long period of time, which means that if someone has observed a particular event or have an interest in a particular event, the only thing you need to have is this link, this unique event ID and this link. And if you keep this link and you can open it on any time in the future, you can see all of the details which are available for this event. And then probably more information is going to be added in the future. So currently this is only this, but I can obviously add more. It looks like I've been talking a lot and no one was asking questions. So I wonder.
Yes. Hristo, this is Steve. I thought I'd mention one thing that right at the bottom of the page you're showing right there, show a cult map.
Yes. So that's another thing you can do. So you can generate an occult map, and this is done on demand. I'm sorry, but it didn't work for this one. And I think it's possibly because it's old. It's the 30th of June. So I may need to go and check this. Let me try to do for another one, which is in the future. 26th of June. So let's say this one. So you should be able to present an occult map, which is the exactly same map. It's done on demand again because I cannot possibly calculate or generate the occult maps for all 27 million events, because this is going to take too much time and too much space. But you can generate this map. You can click on it, and that's the standard map. So you can see all of the information which comes directly from occult. Any other questions?
Hi, Hristo, Ted Blank. Would it make sense to define a tag for a geographic area, let's say?
Yes. So let me try to explain what's my current plan, and it's not always going according to the plan. But the current plan is, I know I have only 7 minutes, so
nothing ever does. So don't.
So the initial plan was, well, make the events available, which is already there, the 27 million events. Then all of these feeds have been already moved to use tagging, but not all of them. And then everything else which comes here comes next. So I still need to provide support for binary asteroids, which I haven't done. The multiple predictions with different orbits. I also intend to make this available in Occultwatcher so people can switch between predictions and see what they are. There's a plan to move IOTA occultations in Occultwatcher Cloud with automated tagging. So this is the thing which are called cloud filters. And then the idea is that at some point people will be able to create their own filters. And this is a different page, which is just a mock-up page. No, it's on the mock-up page. Let me see if I can find the mock-up page. So it's www.occultwatcher.net, and I think it was OWC design. No, okay, sorry. But the idea is that people will be.
Hristo, you had a typo in design. You can try again.
Okay. www. Okay, good. And then I think it's called filters.html. Okay, so this is just a mock-up page of what an event filter may look like. And my idea is that I can allow people to create their own filters. and then you can run those filters to find events in the 27 million, the 30 million transit events, and then this filter can be then used to automatically tag events eventually. So one of the idea with the tags, if you go back, is that so some attacks are tagged for different reasons, but because one event can be tagged with multiple tags, some people may say, okay, I just want to review events which happen in my area, and this will probably affect other people in my area, say 100 kilometers or whatever, 500 kilometers for me, and this can be defined as a region, as a custom polygon, for example. But you can also pick a country right now. This is just what I have, and then you can pick other limits which you want to set up for your filter. So once this filter runs, there should be a way to tag those events. So this is again a mock-up page of how a picture this might look like. So once people run their filter, they'll be able to go and review quickly those events and say, yeah, okay, this one is good enough. And then they just add the tag, and there'll be a way to add your tag. So in this case, this my tag could be simply a regional tag for your region. So if we go back to those ones, this may be a Arecibo, or let's pick one of the other ones. I think there was a better one. There was the 2020-07 on the 30th of June. So let's say this one, which is the Lucky Star event, which is currently tagged by 2 tags, and the Iber occultation is kind of a regional tag, but someone else may also tag this event as, let's say, well, it goes over North Africa. So someone may say in Morocco, and this is the Moroccan cool events tag, or the Moroccan high or easy events tag, and then if someone living in this area of the world wants to pick events, and again the whole point is I'm trying to provide ability for people to get easily focused on events which are easy for them to do, or not too many, or to just filter events which are important in some ways. They can just go, I'm looking for events which are in Morocco only, and if they didn't care about Iber occultations or Lucky Star even, they would still get this event, and they still find out that this event is tagged with other tags for different reasons, and they can still find it. So going forward, I hope, or I imagine that maybe some people would be interested in providing localized tags. And the idea of localized tags, again, is that they will go and review the events, or is this page? They will go and review these events in which happen locally for their region, and they'll just go, okay, I know we have 30 million events happening next 2 months. Let's say that we have 5,000 happening in my area, and then I cannot observe possibly all of them, and no one can observe all of them, but someone can say, I think that these ones are really good. And then they can create their own tag for their region. They can name it after whatever they want, they may be their tag. This is kind of similar to the personal events as well right now, which is happening. So they may be the whatever Hristo Pavlov's events in Eastern Australia, or it can be anything else. And then people will be able to find those events in Occultwatcher.
Hristo, will you be allowing users to change colors on the screen and or the contrast in the Finder image that you're posting there? Because I see that as very dark, and it's kind of hard to see where the path goes.
You mean this one?
Yeah, and the screen in general. I generally
yes,
Google Earth screens as white.
Yeah.
White background and
I think I may disappoint you, but I think that the answer is no at this point. And the rationale behind this is that it's very difficult to define good-looking or easy contrast screens with automatically changing different colors. So I understand that not everyone likes the dark theme, and then maybe at some point I may try to work on a light theme. But really it's important to know that this color matches well with that color. And maybe I can provide a second theme in the future, but I don't have plans to allow people just to say, by the way, I want this color to be changed to another one. But I've got feedback from other people as well. So I know that some people don't like the style. I'll see what I can do, but this is not a priority at this point. So I don't think it's going to happen soon. I'm sorry.
Hristo, I have 2 questions. One is, I would love to see links on the event page for the path coordinates that you often see on, and I don't know, it seems to be a standard format. I don't know if Occult generates it because I've never used Occult, but on.
You mean this one?
The path coordinates, a detail of latitude and longitude, and there's
Can you tell me why you want to see that?
Because I have, when I look at my workflow for when I want to do an event, I have scripts that there's info I want and that is useful for my planning purposes, and I take either a KML or I take those path coordinates and generate a KML. The reason I like the path coordinates is I also do additional stuff like it will tell me how far the center line is from my site. And I have a whole automated workflow that loves that data. And that makes my life really easy.
So let me elaborate a bit more on something else. I know I'm now over time. So not everything is going to end up being in Occultwatcher Cloud. So eventually, I hope to make Occultwatcher Cloud a fully web-only version of Occultwatcher, and people may be able to sign up for events and do stuff like this without having to use the Occultwatcher desktop client. But all of the events which are tagged are also visible in Occultwatcher. So some of the automation or the planning is much better done in a desktop client. For example, star chart generation is some of them. There's various add-ons for Occultwatcher where you can go and click, and I don't have any installed on this system. It's my wife's laptop. You can click there, you can generate charts. So I will think about. So it's not going to be a huge problem. Maybe I can make it work similarly to the show code map, but with every software, because there's so many things that can be done, and I don't really want this to look like I asked you for feedback, you provide feedback, and then told you I'm not going to do it.
Right.
But
can I offer one other comment? In that page you were just on, Hristo, it had the occultation element file from Occult down at the bottom. So one can copy and paste that on your computer, open it up in Occult, and you can export. You can export, KML files, all kinds of things.
That's correct. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that there's so many ways we can achieve something. This is why I'm asking for kind of reason, and I apologize for this, but your problem. So I would like to solve everyone's problems and to make their life easier, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the easiest way technically and effort-wise to solve the problem would be to add an extra piece of functionality to, let's say, Occultwatcher Cloud or Occultwatcher. But I hear what you're saying.
Let me back up one level and just say that maybe there's an alternate way to get where I'm going. As before Occultwatcher Cloud, if I use just Occultwatcher and I'm looking at event details and there's view events on the web link in Occultwatcher, the desktop client, that would give me a URL that would maybe go to, I believe is it Steve Preston that you do the asteroidoccultations.com site? Someone does?
Yes, I do. Yes, this is Steve. I post to asteroidoccultation.com.
Right. So you have a standard format and there's a few other people that slightly vary from that, but eventually somebody always gets down to this standard path coordinates text file, CSV, which I assume is an Occult output. And eventually, so I have a script that it'll ingest all those formats and boom, apply that into my workflow, engine workflow that generates an event. So it's really easy for me to generate the info I want. And now I can't always get that from Occultwatcher Cloud.
Well, you can get that from Occultwatcher Cloud because you have that, as I mentioned a minute ago, there was the text thing? Occultation element file right here, that if you copy and paste from that occultation OCCEL file began and end, if you copy and paste that into a text file and then open it with Occult, then with occult, you can output the path coordinates. Just like
Okay.
that's where I get the path coordinates. I post astro.observation.com.
And
I get them from occult.
And is there a, I'm going to get, is risk of getting into the weeds technically, is there a command line way of doing that from occult? You don't have to say what it is, just.
Okay.
I don't know. We can do that offline.
I'm sorry, I'm in the weeds. Never mind. Never mind.
That's all right. I'm happy to go do that offline some. Just
Yeah.
email me and I'll show you how to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Hristo, I have a question.
Yes.
So I set up an account while we were watching, and I found an event for Arecibo in California that's just a few days from now. Dim,
Yes.
but anyway, so it's worth looking at, I think. But the thing is, you said that if you tag it, then it will show up in your Occultwatcher. So I'm wondering, I tagged it. I just gave it an existing tag that was there, Arecibo Moon or asteroid moons. But how does it know to link to my particular OW? Because I created.
So in Occultwatcher, again, I don't have it to show you, but there must be a new feed which is called observation campaigns. So you need to subscribe for the observation campaigns feed in Occultwatcher.
Yeah, I've done that.
Then you
but
should.
There's probably a million different observation campaigns, right? I mean, if I just tag it, does that mean it's part of everybody's campaign now?
So the observation campaign is called Arecibo Moons. So currently, people cannot just add an observation campaign. This needs to go through me at the moment. So we only have two. So the other one is slow rotators from a researcher in Poland. So currently there's only two. Maybe there will be 5, 10. I think 10 will be still manageable. If they start becoming like 100, then having everything in the observation campaigns feed may not be rational way of doing this anymore. So at this point, I may need to make people to make it to people available to subscribe to an individual campaign. But currently, the observation campaigns are those two tags: Arecibo Moons and slow rotators. So when you subscribe to observation campaigns, you will see all the campaigns which are in under this feed.
Okay, good.
And I just want to say back to Kai that I could add easily another button here. The same way you go show a Occultwatcher map, I can have another button which is create path coordinates. So if path coordinates, it's not going to cost me much. So if path coordinates are important and people want them, I can easily add them. What I wanted to say is that again, I would like to hear more feedback from other people and to see what other people want, because if there's kind of 10 other people wanting something different, but currently I don't have much feedback, so you're the only one, so maybe I'm just going to go and add it for you. But I'm really hoping for people to start saying, oh, can I have this and can I have that? And
I do have one other ask, but it is a little more technical.
So I'm now 8 minutes over time, so I think I need to finish here.
I can do it
and
offline.
Then please send me an email offline. I will, I read my email every day, so I'll reply.
Well, thank you. I appreciate all the work that is going into both Occultwatcher Cloud and Occultwatcher before that.
It makes me happy that it's useful.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay, thank you very much, Hristo, for that detailed presentation. And I'm sure we'll all be learning more about Occultwatcher Cloud as the months go by and as it's developed and becomes highly functional for our purposes. I would like to.
Can I just ask one question in the end?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Does anyone think that what I just explained doesn't make sense? And it's difficult to understand, because that's the thing I really I get a feeling that people don't understand it.
It was great. It was great to hear your voice and see your product and have you walk us through it. So thank you very much.
It's, I guess, one other, in the explanation is it's still going to be the case. It sounds like the tagging might get narrowed down the events somewhat by region or interest at some point, but it's still going to be the desktop that is going to tell me, oh, these are the events within X miles or whatever my filter is.
That's exactly correct.
Okay.
Okay, there's no one complaining saying, yeah, it doesn't make sense, so this kind of makes me happy. Okay, thanks for the extra time.
Thanks again, Hristo. All right. Well, our next speaker is Peter Nosworthy, and Peter has had a month or two of fame now since